I just want to say, Mark asked me a couple weeks ago if I would bring Tuesday night to Sunday morning, and I said, that's scary. And so that's kind of what I'm going to do this morning. I'm going to make it more general, so to speak. Usually what we do is look at events, maybe even that just happened in the last week, but this is going to be more general. These are things that are happening around us that many Christians are not aware of, and I think it is smart of us to be aware of what's happening in the world around us, because Jesus said over and over again, don't be deceived, don't be deceived. So that's one reason I do this, is so that we know what's happening, because a lot of it is deception, and that we don't be deceived. So I guess we go to the next slide. Well, I think I'll pray. Father God, we do thank you for your wisdom and for your comfort and for your protection. And Lord, we glorify your name, Lord, for all those things, all the things you do for us. Lord, we just give you our hearts and minds today. And we pray not for a spirit of fear, but a spirit of a sound mind and a spirit of joy in knowing that you have everything under control. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, next slide. If it works. Is it going to work? That might be the last one. Okay. Oh, that's not right. Is there, is that what I have first? Okay, I guess that is what I have first. I forgot what I had. Okay, that's good. So I usually show some cartoons on Tuesday night. Or memes, usually is what they are. My son asked why I speak so softly in the house. I said I was afraid the NSA was listening. He laughed, I laughed, Alexa laughed. Yeah, okay, next. Okay, so there's Jesus out of the tomb, and there's all those other famous guys still in the ground. Next, that's my Easter picture. People in the 60s. I better not say that or the government will wiretap my house. People today, hey wiretap, do you have a recipe for pancakes? Does anybody have a bottle of water?
Yes, we do.
Okay, next. I like to have a little comic relief because a lot of the stuff we look at, what's happening in the world, is not so comic. This is a bookstore. Please note the post-apocalyptical fiction section has been moved to current affairs. And that is not a funny one, even though you laughed. Okay, next. Okay, here's Gandhi in 1941. The most effective way to change the world is to share a meme on Facebook. Next. There's birthday cakes in Genesis. That's what they look like. That's Methuselah's cake. Okay, next. Shout out to all the early humans who died figuring out which plants were edible. Next. Thank you, Lord, for that.
Yes.
Captain's Log Day 39. Roasted unicorn is delicious. Okay, next. Yeah, that's good. We missed. Oh, okay. Which one? I don't know which one's first. So this is kind of what the world we live in right now. We are in the middle of 1984. If you've read these books, Brave New World and Fahrenheit 451. Right in the middle of that. Venn diagram is what you call that thing. Okay, next, and that's not a joke. The world is not falling apart, it's falling into place. Jesus is coming back. Amen. Next. Okay. So, I just want to start out with a few thoughts, a few statements on Bible prophecy and how important it is. In the last maybe 10 years or 20 years, the church has kind of stayed away from Bible prophecy because so many people have made mistakes, saying Jesus is coming back in 1988, 88 reasons why Jesus is coming back in 1988, and lots of books written on and dates of, May 31st or something, one year Jesus was coming back. So the church decided, well, this is dumb and we're making ourselves look stupid, so let's just not even think about prophecy. I think that's a big mistake. It's a big part of the Bible is Bible prophecy. And God puts it in there for a reason. 1 Thessalonians 5, but you are not in darkness. That says 1 through 6, but apparently I was wrong. You are not in darkness, brothers, for that day to surprise you like a thief. For you are all children of light, children of the day. We are not of the night or of the darkness. So then let us not sleep as others do, but let us keep awake and be sober. That is what we have been instructed to do, and that's what we should do. We should not be surprised by that day if we are staying awake. Or as the phrase, the word is now, woke. So next slide, please. We can be woke as Christians. Importance of Bible prophecy again. 2 Peter, that you should remember the prediction of the holy prophets and the commandment of the Lord and Savior through your apostles, knowing this first of all, that scoffers will come in the last days with scoffing, following their own sinful desires. They will say, where is the promise of his coming? For ever since the fathers fell asleep, all things are continuing as they were from the beginning of creation. Next. Let's not be scoffers, okay? Even Christians are scoffers. Because of the foolish prediction of the past, this should not prevent us from being woke. Next slide. Luke 12. He, Jesus, also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud rising in the west, you say at once, a shower is coming. And so it happens. And when you see the south wind blowing, you say, there will be scorching heat. And it happens. You hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of earth and sky, but why do you not know how to interpret the present time? So they weren't very good at that then, and we're not very good at that now. Next. Okay, there we go. Signs of biblical prophecy being fulfilled are all around us today, but if we don't know what the Bible says about these, we are asleep. By the way, I have to thank Rio for working real hard at making everything work. During the week, last week, we thought none of this was going to work, and maybe I could use my laptop to drive these two big monitors. My laptop isn't that powerful, so he worked on it. I don't know how many hours, but thank you, Rio. Yeah. Proverbs 22:3, the prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. And then in the New Living Translation, a prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. Next. Let us not be simpletons, by the way. Sir Isaac Newton, who seemed to be some flavor of a Christian, said this, about the time of the end, a body of men will be raised up who will turn their attention to the prophecies and insist upon their literal interpretation in the midst of much clamor and opposition. Next. And then G.H. Pember wrote a book called Earth's Earliest Ages. Everybody should read it. It's from 1876. It's a little archaic language, I guess you could say. But anyway, he says, it's a classic. Still, however, there lingers in the minds of many Christians a strong objection to prophetic study, though surely a little honest consideration would convince them of their error. For more than a fourth part of the Bible is prophetic, and if God chooses to say so much, dare we refuse to listen. Next. So, to generalize this, I just decided we're going to use some stuff out of the book of Revelation. The three major things that happens in the book of Revelation is world government, world religious system, and a world money system. So we're going to kind of look at those. I have some videos, quite a few short little videos. And just to give you a flavor, there's, much more, but just to kind of introduce you to some of these things of what's happening in the world that fit in to Bible prophecy. So, 2 beasts in Revelation 13. The first beast is a system, or a world, which ends up to be a world government, and a person, Antichrist, son of perdition. Those are 2 of the words used in the Bible, that rules the world for 3.5 years in the authority and power of the dragon. And do you know who the dragon is? No. In the book of Revelation, it says the dragon, that old serpent. Remember that old serpent? So he rules the world in the authority of that old serpent. The second beast is a system, mystery Babylon, a world religion, and a person, false prophet, who leads the world in worship of the first beast, an image of the beast, and the dragon. Okay, the whole world worships these things, it says. Next. And then the mark of the beast has to do with all of this, but the world economic system especially. Also, it causes all, and it's talking about the second beast, or the false prophet, causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked on the right hand of the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. That is the name of the beast, or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. It is number 666. And we're not going to speculate on what that means, who the Antichrist is. Okay, next. So this is The Economist magazine. Some of you may actually get The Economist magazine, or go to the website. There's nothing wrong with that. But The Economist magazine is owned by some very globalist world bankers who have been in power for a long time and control many things behind the scenes, the Rothschilds in particular and others. And people have discovered that their covers quite often are predictive of the future. This is in 1988. Their cover was, "Get ready for a world currency." And if we could go to the next slide, it's a close-up. Oh, okay. So in the coin, which looks a lot like a Bitcoin to me, it has 10 Phoenix 2018. That bird is a phoenix. And who knows if the money, the world currency, will be called a phoenix. That'd be interesting. But it said 2018. And as it turns out, there are many things happening behind the scenes to create this. And 2018 was a big year for that coming about. We really have a world money system right now, but it is not to the extent that the book of Revelation says at this point. We have the World Bank, we have the IMF, International Monetary Fund. All those things govern the money of the world. Next. Starting with world money system and the mark. So I'm just kind of starting there and then working back. This is a thing that I discovered. AC Chain is a cryptocurrency, which is, a digital currency like Bitcoin. It is created in China by a company, and I just want to say, even though people think of Bitcoin, when Bitcoin came out, people thought, wow, we can get away from government control of this money. We can have our own money system that the government and the world bankers and all these guys don't control. It'll be ours, controlled by the people. Well, I don't think that's really how it's going to happen. It looks like that. At first, it looked like that. But then we discovered that actually Bitcoin was created by the NSA. So that might be something to think about. So China's cryptocurrency, AC Chain, and I'm sure there's others in China, but this particular one is in the process with artificial intelligence to digitize all assets of the world. And that's what they say. We're going to see a video. And notice in the video the reference to the 1988 Economist cover that we just looked at, as if they, AC Chain, is fulfilling the prediction by the magazine, which is owned by the world's financial elite. So well, let's watch this. This is going to be a little shocking. I hope it's not, well, we won't make it too loud, but can you see this good? Oops, go back. I think if you just click on the black screen in the back of that. Okay. Now this is their own video by the company. Eternal peace only comes with fairness and wealth and rights. I won't be able to read all these, but it's a very strange video. Even the music is strange. So there is gold on one side, dollars, American dollars on the other side. Gold weighs a little more apparently. You can put a lot of dollars up there and the gold still weighs more. If you could read their words, it's quite something quite strange. There is a robot representing artificial intelligence doing this, and there's Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are two different big cryptocurrencies in the world. There goes the Phoenix flying. That's the Phoenix from the Economist cover.
Change has come.
There's the Phoenix. Nice looking guy. There's the Economist cover. They are saying that they are fulfilling this Economist prophecy. Economist is a Bible prophecy, by the way. But this is what they're saying they're doing. So this is the beginning. This is all the cryptocurrencies. This artificial intelligence is running through them all. I'm interpreting this for you. There's Ethereum over there. Other cryptocurrencies. One on the bottom right is AC Chain, in the middle and the bottom left. And there's. So digitizing all commodities, everything in the world, and I would say including you. What that means is putting everything on a digital record, like a spreadsheet or whatever, called the blockchain. So that's how digital currency works. But they're not just. This is not just digital currency on the blockchain. Every physical asset in the world is being digitized and put on the blockchain, which is just this record which can't be messed with, can't be hacked, supposedly. So they think it's very secure. Oh, you think that's loud? So there's Ethereum, Bitcoin, and AC Chain. What they're saying is they're putting all the cryptocurrencies, they're going to put them all into theirs. By the way, Christine Lagarde, the head of the IMF, has said that yes, we will be going to, for the world banking, she said, we will be going to cryptocurrency. That is the future of world currency. IMF, International Monetary Fund. So I think that's almost the end of that. So that's pretty interesting. IBM and many other countries are helping to put this all together, but I believe this is the AC Chain is the, so to speak, the spearhead. And really, China is trying to take over. We can go to the next slide. Trying to control all of digital, the artificial intelligence and everything that's high-tech stuff. China really wants to be the controller of that in the world. So to keep track and control of digital finance and human beings, a digital ID must be established on the blockchain for every human being on Earth. So this is something that some big companies are working on. This video, see, I'm playing for you mostly videos from the companies, not YouTubers who are trying to interpret it for you. But these are the companies saying, this is what we're doing. I think, this is a video from Accenture, which is a big company working on artificial intelligence and applying it, trying to apply it to everything. And they're available if you want artificial intelligence for whatever. So ID 2020 is what this one program is called, which means a digital ID for everyone by 2020. So let's watch that video. Now we'll need the sound up because they're
According to
talking.
Article 6 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to recognition everywhere. However, 1.2 billion people in the world live without documented proof of their existence. That means they're excluded from modern society and the everyday activities that we take for granted. ID 2020 believes the future can be different. This public-private partnership is dedicated to solving the challenges related to identity in today's world. To do this, we need to understand what truly defines our identity and how we prove it. We need to appreciate the human at the heart of the challenge. Using innovative technology, we can discover how that identity can be established, trusted, and strengthened over time.
I am Sarah. I am a mother.
I am a doctor. I am a soccer fan.
I am Fabiola. I am a student. I am a princess. I am Joe. I am a scientist.
I am a teacher. I am...
Can you show me some identification?
No, my house was completely destroyed. I just ran.
You will need some ID to cross the border.
I got nothing on me. What can I do? I'm a father. I'm trying to find my family. Please, I'm scared.
Hi, how can I help you?
My child needs to be vaccinated.
Okay, can I get your name?
I am Nia.
And your date of birth?
I don't know my date of birth. I don't have a birth certificate.
Don't you have any form of ID? I'm sorry, Nia, we need something that proves who you are and where you were born.
Can you please help me? I'm here on holidays, but I've lost my passport and my flight leaves tomorrow.
That will take some time to process.
But I need to get back. Family emergency. What can I do?
Can I get your name?
Can you show me some identification?
Don't you have any form of ID?
What if your identity was always in your hands? An identity you can trust, that others can trust? What if this digital identity was always at your fingertips, and people could verify your identity in a few simple steps? What if you were in control of your data and how it's shared with others? What if this personal, portable identity helped you to learn, work, and live? What if showing who you are was as easy as saying, I am?
I am Yusef.
Across the globe, the pieces are coming together to make this happen. Accenture, Microsoft, and Avanade have teamed up to create the prototype you've seen in action. It's a first step towards a digital identity solution for all. To achieve this, we need motivated, passionate people and organizations to join us. So we invite you to come together, collaborate, and realize the vision of ID 2020.
So you saw Microsoft is part of that too, big part of that. So everybody needs a digital ID, no matter where they're at. If they're in the middle of, out in the boonies, you've got to have one, and that's what they think. Is this still running, or what's happening? We can go to the next slide. Oh, okay. So a lot of people have speculated RFID chip would be what is going to be the mark of the beast. I think it's going to be much more than that. It could be part of it. It might not be necessary because of biometric identification, which is kind of what they were alluding to in the last one. And Elon Musk wants to put neural lace in your brain to connect directly to the internet. And he is not joking. His company is working on that. There are other companies working on that. Also, something that they inject into you goes in your brain. They test it on mice. Anyway, I don't remember if they talk about that on this next video, but probably. So I'll try not to say too much. Next video, that one right there. So most of these technologies are being sold to us as health. You know, this is going to be great for the medical industry. And it could be if man would only use these things for good, but that's not the way we are. Next. Okay, this is just, this is MasterCard, just kind of an example. This is old actually. And I can't hardly read it. But it's talking about kind of the evolution of how security has been going. And so it's, I believe it's facial recognition, you know, the end product. The future is here now, facial recognition. Voice recognition. Oh. And fingerprint recognition. Yeah. So anyway, just an example. I mean, you know, this is MasterCard talking about it. Next. So also, then we get to monitor, we're attempting to monitor every electronic or digital device on Earth, including your toaster, as if that's really important. Why do you think that's important? Why do you think that might be important? Because, well, it's in the kitchen. It is taking up energy, and that's what we do. We take up energy, you know, and so we have to be, our energy usage must be monitored, logged and monitored and controlled. So we can watch this video. Internet of Things, that's what they call it. Basically, all things being monitored and connected. This is Accenture again.
The Internet of Things creates a world where everything invisibly talks to everything and everyone else. From consumers and sensor-rich environments, where all devices and services continuously gather and transmit information, to enterprises harnessing new technologies such as machine learning, natural language processing, and robotics, to gather intelligence, monitor operations, and automate. There's no doubt the Internet of Things dramatically changes how we all live and work. But without being able to achieve pinpoint insights from all this data, capturing value is like trying to hear a single voice in a crowd of millions. What's needed is a way to get the best signal-to-noise ratio that'll power truly valuable insights and actions. At Accenture, we see this coming to life in two ways. First, it's the intelligent enterprise, automatically evolving to meet its own and its customers' needs based on constant feedback from intelligent systems. Second, living services. In a world where smart technologies provide granular insights about consumers, services can be changed to improve people's lives and the world around them. So how do you capture these revenue and efficiency opportunities? You need analytics designed specifically to unlock value from the Internet of Things. That's why at Accenture, we've created industry solutions powered by the IoT-ready Accenture Insights platform. It's an end-to-end solution, collecting data, leveraging analytics on the edge, and taking advantage of the cloud to fulfill the tremendous promise of our increasingly connected world. To discover more, visit us at accenture.com/IoT analytics.
How much do we have? How much time do we have, Pastor Mark?
Less and less, but we're okay.
Okay.
We got a little bit of graduation.
Okay.
I'd really like to see this again.
Okay.
We got it.
Maybe it'll be out there on the YouTubes. So a lot of this program, I mean, a lot of these things, these technological things are being driven by the United Nations, which really is the world government right now. I'm sure it's going to morph into something, just like some of these other things are going to be morphing into something. But The UN put out its Agenda 21, I don't remember when that was, but it was a while back. And now that has changed in 2015 to Agenda 2030. And so a lot of these programs have to do with, you know, climate change and controlling everyone's usage of resources. So, next slide. So, speaking of world government, there's a little thing. We knowingly or unknowingly bring spying devices into our lives. So we can watch this. So there's more at risk than privacy and surveillance. Let's look at this video.
And if the United States is going to continue to be a world leader in wireless, we need to speed the deployment of 5G here on our shores. The virtual reality example that I gave is but one sample of the effects of high-speed, low-latency connectivity, and why American leadership in 5G must be a
Can you stop that for a second, Rio?
priority.
I don't know how easy that is. So this is the FCC chairman saying we have to push 5G. It doesn't matter what it costs or what it takes. It doesn't really matter about the health. He'll say that in a minute. But anyway, somebody else has put these over his words and showing how this affects health. Anyway, go ahead. Affects your brain and other things.
That VR example that I gave you was just one example of how the driving force of the 21st century will be powerful processing, centralized in the cloud, and wirelessly connected to thin clients. Autonomous vehicles will be controlled in the cloud. Smart city energy grids, transportation networks, and water systems will be controlled in the cloud. Immersive education and entertainment will come from the cloud.
I don't know. Okay. I guess that wasn't part of it, but in the rest of that speech, he says, we're just going to rush this forward without any testing, because we have to have it. And why do you think this is important? I mean, why do we have to have everything faster? I mean, everybody loves to download the movie or whatever it is faster, and supposedly this 5G will be 100 times faster. To download a movie that takes whatever it takes now is going to be like movies. You got it. So, you know, everybody's going to think that's wonderful, but is this the one we just watched, or this is the one? Okay, this is the one. Yeah, let's watch this one.
I'm Sharon Goldberg. I'm an internal medicine physician. I've practiced medicine for 21 years, and my background is mostly academic, internal medicine, hospital-based, clinical research, and medical education. I am going to skip many of the things I wanted to say because I didn't realize it was only 5 minutes. Wireless radiation has biological effects, period. This is no longer a subject for debate when you look at PubMed and the peer-reviewed literature. These effects are seen in all life forms: plants, animals, insects, microbes. In humans, we have clear evidence of cancer now. There is no question. We have evidence of DNA damage, cardiomyopathy, which is the precursor of congestive heart failure, neuropsychiatric effects. So 5G is not a conversation about whether or not these biological effects exist. They clearly do. 5G is a conversation about unsustainable healthcare expenditures. Why do I say this? We've been sitting on the evidence for EMR and chronic disease for decades. And now we're seeing all these epidemics appearing. So diabetes is the first epidemic. I think most of you know the statistics. They're very scary. 1 in 3 American children will become diabetic in their lifetime, and if they're Hispanic females, the number is 1 in 2. So what does this have to do with wireless radiation? Wireless radiation and other electromagnetic fields, such as magnetic fields and dirty electricity, have been clearly associated with elevated blood sugar and diabetes. That is what the peer-reviewed literature says. It is not opinion. The closer you live to a cell tower, the higher your blood glucose. That is based on hemoglobin A1C measurements. So the idea with small cells of putting the cells closer to people's homes and bedrooms scientifically is very dangerous. And from an economic perspective, it's dangerous. And you may not know this. I was shocked to find this out. But the way you create a model of diabetes in rats in the lab is by exposing them to 2.4 gigahertz. And this is not for long-term exposure. So, I don't have time to talk about the costs, but the huge problem with diabetes really is chronic kidney disease. End-stage renal disease, the worst complication of diabetes, leads to hemodialysis. Hemodialysis is an automatic qualification for Medicare. And if you don't qualify for Medicare, we still have to dialyze the patient. And the state ends up paying in many different instances. So, renal failure is 1% of Medicare, but it takes up 7% of all Medicare expenditures. I don't have time to talk about this anymore, but once again, so the other epidemics that clearly link from the science with electromagnetic radiation are related to mental health. This is straight from PubMed. This isn't my opinion, this is science. Okay?
For those of us who aren't physicians, what is PubMed?
I'm sorry. It's just it's our National Library of Medicine. This is where you would go. This is just the peer-reviewed literature. So we have 3 epidemics that clearly, they're essentially one epidemic. We have deterioration of mental health in the United States. And if you look really at the science, what does it show? And these epidemics are suicide epidemic, epidemics in violent shootings, and the opioid epidemic. And I don't have 5 minutes, is not the time to talk about this. This is in the peer-reviewed literature. I have a file to submit for the record, but these are facts. These aren't, and these are things that have just been glossed over by the wireless industry, and I really don't have time to talk about them in 5 minutes. I wish I did. But we need to examine our epidemics in the context of our EMF exposures. What does that mean? That means that the CDC, tracking these epidemics, we need to start measuring how much radiation are people being exposed to. And before we roll out 5G,
Rio, if you
this
can
means
stop it and go to the next one. I'm going to have to cut it short. I didn't think it was going to go this long. I counted up all the videos, but maybe I took too long talking or singing or something. Anywho, we have to watch this one, okay? Yeah, this is technology at its best. Okay, next. So we're not going to watch this video just for time. Second beast, to lead a false world religion to worship the first beast, and the image of the beast and the dragon, not the worship of God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh. Many forces are coming together to bring this about. This short little video, which we're not going to watch, is a video the Pope put out about bringing religions together, all religions together, which he's working very, very much about trying to do that. Next. And here, Pope Francis calls for global governance to fight climate change. Now, are all the zillions of Catholics out in the world listening to this and thinking this is a good idea? I don't know if they're following their leader. They are. Next. That was very recent. So, this one we're not going to watch either, but this is our world leaders in the New World Order, which is what leaders have been calling way back. And maybe some of you might remember George H.W. Bush and his New World Order speech. Just about every leader, it doesn't matter which party it is. You know, this is the thing you have to realize, this is not a party thing. It's, this is marching ahead no matter who's in power in the United States, who's in the government. The world system is marching ahead, and they're calling it now the New World Order. And that's what leaders have. This is a speech of many leaders talking about that. Next. We're not going to watch this either, but you really should watch it. The chatty gargoyle at the Denver International Airport talking about the Illuminati. It's it's a robotic gargoyle talking to people, and it's actually a very intelligent guy. Next. We're going to zip ahead. So many church, I had a good video to watch. Many church, by the way, I'll end up having this out on with the video. I mean, this will be out on the interwebs, I guess, with my PowerPoint, so you'll be able to watch these videos if you wanted to. So Jacob Brash is a Bible teacher, and he talks about how the church is going astray. Next. So it seems technology, artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and transhumanism guided. Transhumanism, by the way, if you haven't heard of it, you should know about it because it is a very big thing in the world right now, and many people, many big leaders are talking about it. It's guided human evolution through our science, through our technology. They think that they can jump humanity way forward in evolution to be basically gods. Will be part of the image of the beast. Let's go next. Here I had a video of a Buddhist priest worshiping a Buddhist wisdom dispensing robot. Seriously. Next. There's evolution of man. A lot of people probably skip those articles because they think, that's not really happening. Even the Pentagon's secret UFO study program is now public knowledge. It appears that disclosure is what they call it, of extraterrestrial life is one of the major components of the strong delusion that Paul talks about in the last days, 2 Thessalonians 2. Okay, next. We're not going to watch that video. It was a good one. Okay, President Reagan even had a speech where he said, we'd all come together if we had a threat from outside, and he talks about an extraterrestrial threat. Pretty interesting little speech, by the way. That was before the United Nations. Next. This was just an example of UFOs in Helena. Pretty neat little example, but we're going to go on. I'm going to try to wrap it up in 5 minutes. So I'm not going to speculate on the identity of the Antichrist, the first beast, but most believe that there will be a third temple built in Jerusalem before he is revealed by the abomination of desolation. And that's what Paul talks about in 2 Thessalonians. We're going to go to the next slide. And this is a video of some Jewish folks who are creating a crown for the Messiah when he comes. But you know what? The Bible says that the first Messiah they receive, it will be a false Messiah. And it will be the same as the Antichrist. And before they actually see Jesus and recognize him as their Messiah. Next. I usually show a video from the Bible Project Tuesday nights. This is a good one, but we don't have time to watch right now. It's about the Day of the Lord, which, that's kind of what we're talking about. Next. And this is Johnny Cash going by the book. Let me see what I have next. Okay. I don't know if we should watch that. I think I'm going to wrap it up with this. So Johnny Cash did this song, Going by the Book. It's a good video. And I attempted to sing it last fall, and Johnny Cash does a much better job. So no, we're not going to watch it right now. Real, sorry. So, Keep Looking Up is one of my most famous songs all around the world. And it comes from this verse, Luke 21:28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws nigh. And that's my final words of the day. So, thank you.